I've never really had anything that I've wanted to splurge my money on, except for probably food. I love food. But recently there has been something that has typhooned over my life, something that I'll probably have to set up an intervention for eventually, but for now I'm spending all my money on manga. On the corner of Old Denton Road and Bush Turnpike in Carrollton, Texas, there is Koreatown. I'll be making a whole separate video about Koreatown. I spend pretty much like every day there, but across the interstate you'll find Japanese retail. It's also legit like 90 degrees already today, so don't mind the perspiring of thine face that will be happening throughout the entire day. Okay, so like always, I start off the day with a coffee shop. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any Japanese coffee shops, but there is a Vietnamese coffee shop with a Japanese drink that I definitely want to try. Now, Seven Leaves is a large company. Some people call it the Vietnamese Starbucks. It was started in 2012 by 4 brothers, and now they have over 20 locations, including this one here in Dallas. Can I just get the Japanese matcha tea? This is the only place I could find shade, but let's get on to the first sip and see how this matcha Japanese tea tastes. I got a straw that's way too big, so I'm gonna have to drink it very awkwardly. Oh my God, that's so sweet and so good. It's always the aftertaste you gotta wait for with tea like this, especially matcha tea, because usually it gets very bitter very quickly. But this is just staying so sweet. This is so good. I feel like I'm just like ingesting the amount of sugar and calorie intake in this one drink that I should have all day. Oh my God, that's so good. That's so good. An earthly green tea made from premium tea leaves ground to a fine all-natural powder that is consumed whole, allowing the retention of all its many I have no idea what that word is. Anti-codants and caffeine. Matcha tea can boost your metabolism, detoxify your body, calm the mind, enhance your mood, and lower cholesterol? How? That seems a little imaginary. Yeah, it says matcha is known to support a healthier immune system. Okay, that's cool. I already have to pee, so let's go to the manga store. Kinokuniya was a Japanese bookstore founded in 1927. That's almost 100 years ago. Good Lord. When was Barnes & Noble found? 1873. All right, well, Barnes & Noble wins. Okay. There are 71 Kinokuniyas in Japan, and there are 12 in the US, and there are 19 in other countries. I've been watching a ton of anime for a while now, and I've never really been much of a reading person, so I genuinely just didn't care to try manga, but once I did, holy shit. I hate that life convinces you not to enjoy things because of a stigma of that thing being immature. Once you get older, you stop reading books with pictures in it. But for me, it's like so much better. It's just so much more enjoyable to see like pictures happening as I'm reading about the thing. The store gets a ton of business, and honestly, the mixture of people is pretty refreshing. Dallas has a lot of cultural diversity, which is one of the reasons I moved here. You can find a ton of manga and anime merchandise. I mean, Dallas is also home to the main voiceover studio for anime in America. I took my fiance here, and even though she's never really been interested in nerd culture, she was shocked at how many people were in the store. I mean, in every city, you're gonna find people who want to explore new cultures, East Asian, London, European type vibes. And I think it's important for every city to try to make stores like this or build stores like this to appeal to people like that, because people need escapism once in a while, and it's really cool to be able to see something authentic and real from a different country, to also build empathy and understanding towards others in the world. All right, so today, like usual, I had, I splurged more than I've been, I was gonna say more than usual, but it's about the same amount of splurging. Splurging per usual. After this, I will show my home collection and go more into detail about why I randomly just started spending a ton of money on this stuff. But let's go over today's haul real quick. To Your Eternity is an anime that actually very recently just premiered, and I watched the first episode. It was like the saddest thing I'd ever seen in my entire life. So I was like, I want to read the manga because, you know, the art just is better in manga because, because you don't have to animate it. Wow, I'm explaining like the stupidest thing. I bought volumes 2 and 3 of Vinlin Saga because it was probably one of my favorite manga I've ever read. I read the first book and was just like, oh my God, this is so good. but I'll explain more of that later. I might as well have just bought in every single Beastars volume because I'm thoroughly enjoying the manga right now. I actually like it more than the anime. I think they feel like two completely different vibes because Beastar anime is like CGI and this very cool feel. The music's fantastic. But yeah, the books for some reason have like a completely different vibe that just feels like I'm watching a different show altogether. So I bought 4 volumes of that, knowing that I'll probably eventually buy all of them. I bought this because people talk about it, but the quintessential quintuplets, I don't think it's gonna be the kind that I really like, but you know what? I feel like I wanna try everything. I got Banana Fish Volume 3. It's cool because it's actually based in New York City, like the Vice City, New York in the 80s type vibe, and that's where I lived, but I need to buy Volume 2 online, but when I can, I wanna buy as many as I can from like an actual bookstore because I love like shopping local, the community, blah, blah, blah. Especially when they're that awesome and they have that many options, like I feel like they deserve my money. And the same thing with Soul Eater. I gotta buy Volume 2 online. I bought Volume 3 from the store, then Attack on Titan, you know, Volume 2. I watched the entire anime, but I just wanna relive it through manga form. And the total just from this haul came out to $177.32. Yeah, so let's go home and look at the rest of the collection. But before that, I want to enjoy an authentic Japanese meal in Texas. And there happens to be, I'm just realizing that the bookstore, the coffee shop, and the restaurant that I'm going to that actually has vegan options for someone like me are touching. They're all neighbors. They're right there. I'm gonna take one picture and you'll see the entire frame. Wow. All right, so obviously a little too awkward to talk because I was surrounded by humans, but the food, it was delicious. The fried things I got were basically just like fried mashed potatoes. They tasted like mashed potatoes, but they were so good. It was so flavorful. The accents of the peas and the corn was phenomenal. You could taste the corn really well, actually. It was almost kind of sweet as well, and just the crunch. Oh my God, it was so good. The fried rice as well was so sweet that it tasted like they put soy sauce in it. I don't think they did. I think that was just the natural flavors of everything they mixed into it. But I love that it actually kept its composure as I was eating it, and I could eat both meals with just my chopsticks. The sauce was a little more jelly-like, but I'm pretty sure it was just soy sauce, and it was, man, it was good. The entire meal was $9. I'm pretty sure I could have gotten away with just eating one of them because it was so filling, but now I'm gonna explode, and yeah, that'll be cool. So this is what I have so far that doesn't include today's haul. Yeah. Okay, so why? Basically, out of nowhere did I just end up buying a ton of these books? Well, ever since I started getting really into drawing again a few years ago, I've been buying more books about illustration, art, and I started following all accounts about art and illustration. And in the world of skateboarding, there's a lot of discussion about people who don't get paid as much as they should. And I think every industry kind of mentions that from time to time. I think I have found the industry where people are paid the least for the amount of work put in, and that is manga artists. A lot of times you'll see illustrators and comic artists kind of design a few characters here and there, and they're able to basically make millions of dollars by putting them on t-shirts everywhere. I don't mean people who create stories, I mean just that's like a thing. A contemporary artist can just make a cool character that everybody wears and makes a lot of money, and then in these manga books, obviously I'm not saying that doesn't take a lot of talent, it does, but in a manga, it's like 150 pages of just nonstop insane artwork, tons of different characters, tons of different storylines, and I'm buying each of these books for what, $10? I mean, that's really the only way that they'll get people to buy them because, you know, there's a lot to collect and you can end up spending, like me, a ton of money. Actually, let's try to figure out how much, okay, let's try to figure this out. Let's just say I spent $10 on each one. So I counted about 74. Some of these were definitely more than $10. So I think with today's haul and this, it's easy to assume that I spent at least $1,000 on manga so far, which I think it's 100% worth it in every possible way. The thing about manga is it's not really like an investment that you can kind of return later. I think with books, it's really hard to like increase the value, but in terms of sheer amount that I get out of it, in terms of not only just inspiration, but a good story, endless good art to just stare at and gawk over and potentially learn from, you know, $10 each one is like an absolute steal. I wish I could like tip more money as I'm buying each book. I'm gonna do the thing that every person who recommends anime and manga dreads, I'm gonna recommend 5 that I think everyone could start off with and get like really into the medium. First of all, One Punch Man. I'm sure most of you have heard of it. The manga is insane. Like, as good as the first season of the animation was and as ridiculous as it was, the manga goes like way harder and it just stays at that consistency forever. I have no idea how the artist, who's actually Yusuke Murata, I think that's how you say it. Don't hate me if that's wrong. He's the most ridiculous artist. I mean, just look at this panel right here. You can like zoom in and see all the ridiculous detail, and that is just actually one page out of at least 100 in every single volume. So it's like, I genuinely can't believe it. I feel like I'll never be impressed by like art again, unless it's like in this form. I forgot to do a quick synopsis. One Punch Man is about a superhero who can kill anyone with one punch, and it's like a comedy. It's just kind of like it's like a parody of when the superhero has to work really hard to achieve his things, and this guy just kind of like can kill everyone with one punch. It's just, I don't know, it's funny. Vinland Saga is about Vikings, and it's actually based in like the 1800s, and it's like very Game of Thrones, but not as gory type vibe. It's really super, super fun and easy to read along. Spy Family is actually a new one, but it kind of reminds me of Mr. and Mrs. Smith if they had a kid who is a psychic as well, and none of them know that they're all spies, and they're all working on the same mission technically. It's super fun. And the artwork, of course, is just like unreal. Beastars, I mentioned it before, but it's so good. It's like a very, you know, it's a world of animals, and the main character falls in love with a rabbit, and it's like a world where carnivores don't eat herbivores, or at least it's seen as taboo, unless you're an adult in the real world, and you can find markets where you can actually eat. It's like the equivalent if like humans had like a market where they eat humans. Like, that's how taboo it is in this world to eat herbivores, and it's really fun because it follows like a high school group of animals. And then Ice Shield 21, done by the same artist who does One Piece. It's a football manga. I mean, that's pretty much it. It's a football manga. Easy 5 for anyone who like wants to kind of get into it. I would just maybe on Amazon or a local store or like a Barnes & Noble, try to buy the first copy of each one, and you're gonna be stoked. And honestly, that's it. If you did enjoy this, if you wanted more, if you wanted to hear more about how I feel about other manga that I've been reading and other things that I've been doing, because honestly, I've been drawing as much as I've been skating. I've been, you know, exploring a lot of different avenues, and with this one especially, I have been drawing as much as I have been reading, so that's just been, it's been super fun, like getting into that wild world of storytelling and story writing, and it's just my imagination, and yeah, that's why I'm trying to sprinkle it onto this channel a bit, because it is such a constant state in my life that if I don't, I mean, it's just not gonna be authentic. If I'm just like, I just skate, I swear that's all. No, it's like I skate a lot, but I read manga a lot, and I get into the world a lot. I'm into like Korean culture a lot recently. There's a lot of stuff, and I will be making videos as we go along about every single thing that I'm doing, because this channel is called John Hill, so it is about the things that I do be. Right now, I'm only putting out one video a week every Tuesday, because as you can see with this video, they're a lot more edited than usual, because I'm trying to do like the kind of videos that I'm super, super pumped on. So right now, one a week, every Tuesday I'll be uploading. If that's cool, let me know, I guess. All right, take care, progress daily, and keep killing it.